Hi guys. So I'm sure you might be wondering where I have been the last 3 months. Well, I took a very much needed break. To put it simply, I burned out. YouTube has been so heavily involved with my life over the last 5 years. Every single day I lived and I breathed YouTube, almost to the point where I forgot what it's like to live life without just constantly working on or thinking about anything YouTube. I want to premise this video by saying ever since I first discovered YouTube in like 2008, it's always been my dream and my passion. I didn't even care about like a particular style of content or anything. I was just obsessed that there was this outlet for people to be creative and upload literally whatever they want. And that's what I did for many years before making a single penny off of it. And once I finally did start making a living off of it, I mean, it couldn't have been any better. It was like the most cliche dream come true moment I could have hoped for. And so all I wanted to do was capitalize. I was obsessed. I was just like, go, go, go every single day. And eventually, after making thousands of videos, it started gradually feeling more like an obligation. And I sort of lost that initial motivation and creative drive that I once had. And so kind of the main stopping force that ended up coming was my my own mental health. And that kind of brings us to the main topic of this video, which is anxiety. I've been dealing with anxiety for, I don't know if I've always had anxiety or if I've only like come to terms with it recently. But just to make it very clear what I'm talking about, at least how I experience anxiety, it's the constant overwhelming feeling that something is horribly wrong and it needs to be dealt with immediately. Even if you have no idea what that thing is. Almost every time I was super stressed about something, it would consume me. Sometimes even for months at a time. And looking back at a lot of those things, they were non-issues. They were things that I was worried or upset about that my anxiety built up in my head to be this like horrible, dreadful thing. Like making it just so much worse than it actually was. And so that's just kind of how I've been living my life for the last couple of years. Especially after the Pals disbanded, I think I just felt really alone in what I was doing. One of my biggest regrets with YouTube is not having reached out to other members of the community. I felt like there were so many things going on around me that I was just never really a part of, because I never bothered to be. I just continued doing my own thing. And anytime something happened on YouTube that would stress me out or upset me, I felt like I didn't really have anyone to talk to. And I just felt kind of lost and alone in what I was doing. I want to say pretty much since 2018, I started becoming increasingly unhappy with what I was doing. And I bottled it all up. When I first started making videos that actually started becoming successful and the channel was growing really quickly, I became obsessed with like not wanting to screw it all up. I felt like this was my one chance that I'll ever be presented and I need to make the most of it. And I had this super unhealthy mindset that like, even if I miss a couple of days of videos, that my channel would just die. People would just forget about me and I would be dead within days. Looking back, that's just 100% my anxiety getting the best of me. But I was so dead set on grinding for as hard as I could for years and years, to the point sometimes where even if I was feeling so awful on a day, so like I'm not exaggerating, sometimes I would be on the brink of tears and I still just force myself to record because I like couldn't bring myself to miss a day of uploads. It was just like in my head, like the worst possible thing that could happen. Only until I took this break I genuinely felt like I never had a right to complain about anything. I am by far the luckiest person that I know and that I may ever know. And I have the unbelievable privilege of being able to say that I've gotten to do both of my like literal childhood dream jobs, that being a YouTuber and making a cartoon show. So I started having these moments of like, where do I go from here? I have everything I possibly ever could have hoped for, and yet I still felt so unhappy all the time. And I just felt so guilty. Even if I was surrounded by friends and loved ones, it could be something that I was looking forward to for weeks. And I get there and I'm in the moment with all my friends are there and we're doing a thing and I'm just miserable inside. And I just let that become my life. Every day became so hard. Recording the simplest video that I've done thousands of times sometimes became next to impossible. I can't tell you how many times I've sat down at my computer ready to record and I just sit there for hours, like just nothing. I just can't bring myself to do it. And then often I would give up, feel terrible that I'm not going to have an upload for the next day, and then I just feel even worse. Or I just say screw it and I force myself, even though I'm in the moment, so like recording may just be the last thing that I want to do, but I just did it anyways. And I would upload a video that I'm so clearly having a bad time, but I just did it because to me, that was better than nothing. There was that obligation of getting an upload out. I think the main turning point was when I started having to remove myself from my own house, because in moments where I was especially unhappy, I didn't want Gabby or my roommates to see. And so I would just go sit in my car, and sometimes like just for like an hour, and I would sit and I would cool down, and then I would come back inside and I would act like everything is fine, like pretend like everything is normal. And then one day I was sitting in my car having one of those moments, and I just kind of thought to myself, why am I doing this? What is the point if it's making me, like, I don't know, crazy? And that's when I tweeted, like right there in that moment. In that moment I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I mentally just hit a wall, and I had to do something about it. And that leads us to the break. And I just want to say 10 out of 10 break. Like literally the best decision I could have made. In some ways, I feel like a completely different person. The first thing I did was I logged out of YouTube. I deleted my social medias, and I just took some time to not do anything at all. The break wasn't easy at first. I still had that sort of lingering guilt that I wasn't uploading, and then that sort of constant fear that like every day that goes by is a day closer to the channel dying. Like it was still just, I was still dealing with my anxiety, but I was able to start gradually filtering those negative thoughts out of my head, and I just fully put my focus into things that make me happy. I focused on things like I went skiing so much. I started going to therapy, which, by the way, highly recommend so much. It's so great. And eventually I started watching YouTube again, which, like, I know it may seem weird that that's like a big thing for me, but it kind of was. Like before the break, I didn't really watch YouTube. Like I wasn't really subscribed to anyone. I wasn't really like a fan of any like series or anything. Like sure, I was, I'd watch YouTube videos here and there, but I didn't like watch YouTube, But this break pretty much reminded me why I love YouTube so much in the first place. I feel like I rediscovered it. Gabby and I started watching a lot of YouTubers, Dog, Bald and Bankrupt, H3 Podcast, Hermitcraft. We binged watched Hermitcraft. Like, Gabby and I watched all of Green's episodes, went right back to the start, watched all of Scar's episodes. We're literally obsessed. Okay, so what eventually started happening was I started feeling happy, like genuine happiness of just enjoying every day as it comes and not being so caught up in my career and putting so much weight on every little thing that I do. I realized how hard I was on myself mentally for so long. Even if it sounds super corny, like, I don't care. It felt so good to just live in the moment, to enjoy every minute of every day, because why wouldn't you? What's the point in doing anything if it doesn't make you happy? To help clear my head, I completely separated myself from my channel and social media and all that. And then once I was feeling up to it, eventually, I started checking my notifications and my messages. And I don't know why, but I was really surprised to see the sheer amount of support and emotional validation. I can't emphasize how much it meant to me. Seeing replies to my tweet or my last video, other YouTubers reached out with their support, ones that could relate to what I was going through. Even if it feels like you didn't really say too much, it was so reassuring. It was so helpful, and it made me so happy. And it kind of made me realize this whole time I've had this community of amazing people that were just a message away. And I'm not just talking about YouTubers. Like, that was a big thing that I realized is so many people deal with anxiety. So many people have to show up to work and put a smile on, even if they're feeling down that day. It made me realize I'm not alone at all, and that there's nothing wrong with admitting that you need help. It's okay to not be okay. And it took me way too long to realize that. Some people never realize that. They just live their whole lives being so worked up and stressed all the time. And it doesn't have to be that way. I'm still not perfect, like I sometimes I'll get worked up over some really dumb small things, but overall, I'm just so excited. I couldn't be more ready to get back at it and just find fulfillment in what I do. Like, I can't tell you how good it feels wanting to come back and just make the videos that I want to make. Like, I literally just want to vibe out and play Minecraft. That's all I've wanted to do for so long. And I guess with that being said, I might as well go ahead and make it official so I don't keep getting asked about it going forwards. I don't really intend on playing Roblox anymore. I had my run with it. It's been fun. Thank you, Roblox, for everything you've done for me. And if you are only here to watch me play Roblox, that's okay. Thank you for tuning in while you did. I still really appreciate it. But yeah, all in all, I'm doing great. I think the best I've ever been, honestly. Thank you everyone for the incredible support. While I was gone, we hit 9 million subscribers. I'm really sorry I didn't say anything when it happened. To be honest, I was just unaware of it at the time. I just separated myself from YouTube, but that was really something to see. I guess that's it. Thank you guys so much for everything, and I'll be seeing you again real soon.